Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
The first thing is we've always had this one pair data, and I recently connected some pairs. The data for these pairs is all inaccurate. These are old accounts of mine. I just funded them with $500, but the old data from old, blown accounts from like 3-4 years ago. You have a lot of old accounts. I just funded a bunch of old ones. I never waste brand new ones on data accounts because you can do a custom analyst. So those will be accurate soon. They can be ignored for now, and we'll look at these. Once those take their first trades, you actually see results for them with brand new $500 funded accounts. But for now, we have results and data on these pairs that you can use for your selections. And obviously, we'll see that the best performers, we've always based kind of on drawdown plus gain. And these are $500 accounts that were all funded. So, depending on how they look, just running a $500 account, one pair. I also withdrew from many of these accounts. You can see this week, I brought them all back down to $500 balances so that they could be completely accurate in their information and data that we share, so that drawdown is going to be, identical to the other pairs. Because, if an account grew, for example, this one to 872 and was only reporting a 22% drawdown, well, technically that could have been more if it was only a $500 balance. So we wanted to take those back down to make sure all the data was fully accurate going forward with all the different pairs and the results that we'll be sharing. So I want to come in here and I want to talk about a cool tool. This isn't going to roll out this week. But this is going to roll out along with the next version of GearBox 1.01. There's going to be some cool changes. I'm going to talk about them. Version 1.01 should come out in the next week or two. It's going to be the last update for at least, I'd say, 60 days minimum, possibly longer, because all the other features that we want to create are going to require a lot of testing and development. So version 1.01, this is actually separate. This was created by a member in our community. Absolutely incredible. I'm going to have him come on a call and talk about this stuff soon, but we've been working to give people more tools to actually kind of determine their risk, see where different levels would take. And now this isn't fully accurate. So essentially what this is and what you're seeing on the screen is a tool a member in our community created, and he showed me and he sent it and he said, hey, I created a level predictor where you just figure out where level 0 would have been and match it up with your first trade. It also can predict your take profit and your first stop loss, and you can do some other things which I'll show you. But basically, it was a really cool tool for people who wanted to be able to manage their gearbox more, move take profits, move stop losses, see their actual where the levels potentially should take. So I'm going to give you an example here. We see that we took a level 2 on AUD NZD on this one pair data swing account. So I think the white line should be about here maybe, and I was close. So you have to move the white line yourself. This is level 0. And there we go. So this lines up. Now, what you're going to notice, all right, is that even though one did get taken, ideally level 2 got taken kind of where it should have. I still could move this down a little more to make it more accurate. There we go. You'll see that 3 is where our TP line is, but you'll see 3 is a little farther down. But if we actually look at this chart, you were to zoom in, you'll see this was a huge drop. So if we even lowered the time frame, and we came in here and we'll have to remove it. It doesn't stay where it should or needs to, but you can take it on lower time frames. And this is just going to be a really powerful tool for people to actually kind of analyze their charts a little bit and understand their risk. The only downside is, like I said, you got to put it where level 0 should be and match it up with your first trade. And then just double click. There we go. So like I showed you, level 3 didn't actually get taken until here, right? Even though it should have been taken where the TP is, but you look, this was a giant candle that just fell off a cliff. So this is what's known as slippage. So sometimes people will tell me, hey, maybe a trade hasn't taken yet, or it should have taken and it waited longer. Well, this is because it's the markets. If something like this happens, well, when you're trading on an A-book broker, you're going to get filled where the market allows you to get filled, where the liquidity is. And that trade ended up being down here. Now I can move my TP line. Hold on. Got it. Double clicker here. And you can see we move the TP line right there. And you can see that when this trade closes, I'm going to make $15. Now, this is what's really cool. This is known as your break-even line. So what you're seeing here is the break-even line. So this is what really is going to give you control to say, do I really need to wait all the way up here? Maybe you've been in this trade for a while and you just want to get out. Well, where's your break-even line? So this is really powerful. This is actually a separate thing. I mean, this is not a part of GearBox 1.01, but it will be getting rolled out with GearBox 1.01 update. Now, what is GearBox 1.01? We just rolled out 1.0 with the correlation filter. And as I mentioned, this will be the last update. This next 1.01 will be the last update for at least 60 to 90 days. As GearBox will be a just amazing product that you can run with, and all the extra features developments will only enhance your experience that we work on and plan to release in the next 90 days. But this is one of the tools that'll be coming out with 1.01 to give you guys more control, more access, and then to give you a visual of what's going to be different in 1.01. Let me just pull up a screenshot real quick. And this is a mock-up. I made this in Photoshop and sent it to my team to do the looks and everything. But what you'll see here is we moved the balance protection down to the bottom of GearBox, and we're going to move the ghost gears up top, and we're also going to add the enter now button. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what the enter now button is maybe you're trading a pair like GBP NZD and you see you're on like sniper mode on like a level 5 trade, and maybe you're supposed to enter on 6 or 7, and you're just like, you look at the chart and maybe you're just like, you know what, I'm okay taking this trade right now. You'll be able to just hit enter now and it'll take the trade and start the sequence then and there. So that'll be coming in version 1.01 is the UI change with the ghost gear display here, which the reason we're doing this is so that you can actually see on your charts where the ghost gears are when you have multiple charts open, rather than it being here where you got to go open the chart and enlarge it to figure out where each ghost gear is. We want it to be super visible, no matter how many charts you have open. So it's a redesign of the UI. The next changes that are going to happen are in regards to adding more features to the correlation filter. So like I said, I was just going to go through all of my one pair accounts with you guys. So these are all one pair data accounts that are running, right? So that we can actually figure that one's not a one pair data account. That's different. Here's more one pair data accounts. I have a lot of EPSs that you can see that are each running GearBox here. And here we go. We look at, say, Euro JPY. All right. You might be asking, why am I not in a trade? Well, it should very soon. That's a good one there. Euro AUD. Oops, that's not what I'm looking for. You got everything here. EuroCAD. And you can kind of see the displays. You can ignore that account, that one here. Let's go over here. More just AUD CAD on a buy 3. And if we look, so obviously it's been a slow week. Many of these accounts haven't gotten in a trade. We would see that auto change to gears above 3. So currently I'm waiting on a 4 entry. AUD CAD is close to an entry. So in this case, the enter now button, you might be looking at AUD CAD and personally, I'm looking at a big support zone right here. I mean, we could zoom out on a different time frame, but just eyeing this right now, we're at a very major support here. If this is also resistance too. If it breaks through here, I mean, we're going to fall to the next zone, which is going to be probably right here, which is another hefty fall, meaning that there is still potential for this to go my way before the end of the day and me get a quick entry. But most likely, it probably won't. And that's the reality. GBP CAD's on a sell 3. GBP AUD is on a sell 5. And I mean, that does look pretty beautiful. We're testing another major zone here, as you can see. I love seeing stuff like this because it makes my belief in my own product go through the roof. Because you look at the chart and you agree with what your product's doing and what it's waiting for. So in this case, yeah, we could take this sell right now. But why wouldn't I? Well, you can see that this is still a major zone of support and resistance. Now, if we break through here, all right, we're probably going to have another little run up to the next area. But that would get me my sell. And then it would be an amazing sell. So do I agree with that execution all day long? And this is the stuff to look at. Why is it taking you so long to get in a trade? Well, do you even agree with the trade? GearBox, you have a lot of extra confirmations you're going to tend to look for when using the product. Now, it really is all based on pips and math and data, but it's the same concept. And I would heavily agree. And the same on GBP CAD right now. Look straight across here. You see what I see? I see a major zone. So it's cool to be able to individually look at the charts and kind of see the ghost gears. I mean, remember, the ghost gear is telling you exactly where the market is and where you are in the market close to getting your entry, right? It's the great thing I love about GearBox is, most people who build a software similar don't give you this stuff. They just hide it all and say, oh, I didn't see a trade opportunity. With GearBox, you get to know why it's taking a trade opportunity. You get to see where it is in its thought process on why it's going to take that trade opportunity. You have the full control and power of everything going on with the product, right? Let's see. I'm reading through the chat real quick. All right, let's see through here. So this is my my precision account that we always look at, my 10K precision mode account that is running. And you can see we're still in some drawdown. Now, if we go to my FX book, I actually made money this week on this account. I got out of my NZD CAD buys. You can see I'm only in 2 pairs right now. This is a swing account, so we are in swing mode and I am in only 2 pairs. So what does that tell you? It tells you the market's been very boring and we haven't even gotten entries on swing, at least not since I got out of NZD CAD. And even since I got out of NZD CAD, it still would have taken any prior trades in the queue if they were valid, which tells me that, the market has been very boring for precision modes. And let's take a look at that MyFX book. I believe we have that account right here. Yep. So you can see I closed out of NZD CAD. We were coming out of the drawdown and now we're right back in the same amount, but we closed some profit and took the account up from 91% to 95.5. You can see it's been a very slow May. We've just been in these swing trades all month. I mean, this account has only done 3% in closed trades, which again has not been very exciting. We held NZD CAD for 3 weeks. Euro CAD, our average hold times were actually not that much on the short side. But you can see NZD CAD was the one we really wanted to get out of. We got out of that one. And now we're just still holding Euro CAD and USD CAD trades out here. Actually, just Euro CAD and CHF JPY now. We actually got out of USD CAD too. That's good. Yeah. So like I said, very, very cool. See, there's still 83% win ratio. So, I mean, can GearBox be slow? Absolutely. But can it hit as well during times of big movement and volatility? The thing right now that's been, happening is the markets haven't been moving back and forth as much as they normally do. They've been trending slowly and trending in one direction for longer periods of time. And then their reversals have been just as slow, which, for GearBox ultimately means less profit because you really are looking to play larger moves in the market, and you need more choppiness to really get these solid returns where it's in and out, in and out, in and out, and just crushing it. And when the market's just trending in one direction for long periods of time, and then trending back down, even on the slower side, back to your take profit, it's just, it can be a much slower process, as I mentioned. And we saw April, things picked up. May, everyone went back into a slow period again. And I'm hoping we go in here to the next month of June and we start hitting it out of the park. And what I can tell you from firsthand experience is June is when I really first started my original beta testing of the base algorithm of GearBox, like that I had built. There was already the base algorithm I've been using for 2 years, but then about a year ago, June, is when I really started playing with live money with my first renditions of GearBox and the modifications and all the changes and ideas I had. And June and July were great months in the market. So if it's anything like last year and we're repeating very similarly, I think that the summer is going to produce very well for GearBox if we go into the same market cycle. And it's all market cycles. So one. Hello. Moved from Alexander, and I have one open trade, but in DD about 20%. GearBox will continue to take trades, Nicole, as long as you're under 25% drawdown. It can take a trade. So it can open a new pair as long as your max pairs aren't breached. I'm reading here, Zentrade, I have 6 pairs open, 10%. DD on a swing account, 1/4 of the lot size from the normal starting lot of 0.5 lots with account balance 250, but in swing with half of the pairs on level 7, others at 5/6. 6 pairs. Yep. AUD CAD, CHF, JPY, EuroCAD, NZD CAD. Yeah. So Zen, it seems like you were in a lot of correlating pairs as well. And you've been in them. So you're kind of just waiting on the same thing, which is all those pairs to have their movement, which is never a fun sight, which is why we created the correlation filter. So moving forward, that's what I forgot to talk about, version 1.01. There's more to version 1.01. And now that I just saw that, you brought me back up to my thought process. So in GearBox version 1 right now, your correlation is built on the daily, and it's on 85% positive and negative. So the point of telling you this is in version 1.01, you're also going to have 4-hour correlation data. You're going to have 1-hour correlation data, and you're also going to be able to have the ability to toggle between 85, 75, and for a more aggressive user, even 95, which, I would say the more aggressive you want to be, the lower your correlation should be. But some people may say, oh, I'm not going to get enough trades. So even with 95, it's really going for they got to be highly correlated, right? But we're going to give you the ability to toggle between these to decide how conservative you want to be. So a super conservative person would probably go with the 75 even, right? Whereas a normal person is probably going to go with 85, and somebody who wants to get a lot more trades is going to go with 95. So we're going to give you the ability to toggle between 1 day, 4-hour, and 1 hour, and 75, 85, and 95, positive and negative in version 1.01. So those are going to be the other updates So right now you only have it on 85 and the daily in version 1. But now that we have the feature working and it works properly, we said let's create a toggle and add the 4-hour data and the 1-hour data. And then basically all it is for us is once a week, we have to come to my FX book and download this data and do it for all of the pairs. And I got to uncheck these ones and check these ones and then export it all and then put it into an HTML file and turn it into an Excel spreadsheet. I'm just going to have to make 4 files. I mean, it's going to take me 30 minutes a week, but I compile this data, I upload it to the server, and then GearBox reads the data based on which % toggle you choose. So that'll be completely running and you'll have more options. Nicole, one of my trades was USD JPY and I'm now out of that. How do I take that off of GearBox? Do I just exit on my VPS? Yes, absolutely. That's how you would do that, Nicole. Yes. So Zen, let's talk more about that. That isn't a version 1.01 feature, but that is a part of, where was the AUD NZD account that we were looking at here? Was it on this VPS? No, this one. One of these has the one we were just looking at. I wanted to go back to that one, but I'm gonna have to figure out which VPS it was. I can do it on any of them. I'll just open another chart. I need one with a trade on it though, so that I can show you it in action, which is why I wanted to use that one. I don't want to move any TPs on that account. I want to show you guys this though, because it's another feature. Gotta be losing my mind. There it is. Okay. AUD NZD. Let's take a look at this. So one of the extra cool features, we're gonna have to look at the daily to get that stop loss. There we go. So you see this red line. You can go ahead and adjust the red line. So let's say I wanted to move the stop losses down here for all the trades. Now keep in mind, normally each of your trades has a stop loss that's different. They're not connected at all. Like here, we are on Cloud Trader 2. Where's Administrator? I'll give you an example real quick. Okay, you see my stop losses are all at different levels, each 500 pips apart from their first initial trade. When you use this feature, all your stop losses are going to combine into one spot. So you're going to have to decide if you want to do that, of course, but here's how it's going to work. And I might make an option to right now, it's a script that'll move both the TP and the stop loss, but maybe I can separate this to where if you just want to move TP, you can just move TP. And if you wanted to move stop loss, you can move stop loss. But so my TP's right here. Let's say I even want to move my TP up a little bit right there. And we will move my stop loss down. God forbid, I don't know why anyone would move their stop loss down more. I mean, I can even make it tighter. I mean, we got a long ways to go. Say I put my stop loss right here. I'm going to put it where level 7 would take, right after level 7 would take an entry. I'm now going to just drag this onto the chart and hit OK. And just like that, my orders were moved. My TP was moved. My stop losses were all moved. So that's another feature coming with this tool. And this was created by a member in our community. And like I said, I'm going to bring him on next week's call. I want him to, talk and talk about his ideas and thought processes. But, it's so cool to see people that, hey, they love the product. They love what we have going on with GearBox, and they create tools just like the GearBox risk calculator is another member of our community who made it. It's so powerful to have members of our community come to the table with powerful technologies like this and be willing to share and say, hey, I want people to have this. I want to help people make money and use my tools to increase their trading experience. And there's no other communities out there like that. So this is a really cool tool. I think many of you are going to love being able to have this because you can see where those next levels ideally would take. If you even get to level 5 on this trade, it's a bad day. So you can see that those are big moves. Now, remember, that's why GearBox is so brilliant. There's not many EAs. I've been using EAs for 3 years, and I have not seen many EAs that could withstand a movement like this and still be ready to take trades. I mean, our stop loss isn't even till down there, and that's only 191. I mean, on this. It's just, that's a good chunk, don't get me wrong, but it's just powerful to see products that can handle volatility, can handle large movements. Yeah, you might get in drawdown every once in a while for a long period of time, but you're not going to lose your money. And I think that's the most important thing, is that, you are using products that you can trust with, the decisions. Like I can't wait to enter this GBP AUD trade once it breaks through here. If it continues up, it's going to come back down. It's not going to, it could run up a bunch, but ultimately we're going to get where we need to get. Now, let me check the Q&A here. I am reading through. Yeah, Philip, such a slow month for swing trading. It has been. It's been a slow month for GearBox. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely been slow on all fronts, with using any real strategy. I mean, all of the markets in general, with most EAs this month, was slow. And what I've seen with my testing of many different products, overall though, don't get me wrong, it's just market cycles. You just got to understand the market cycle and how to trade it. Now, there are settings that I've seen people running on GearBox where they're crushing it in these market conditions. So, like, I'll give you an example. Precision mode's been super slow this month. There were people in intraday mode that were doing, I'm not going to say any percents because I don't want to push intraday mode. Intraday mode is great in times like this, but in the times where swing is awesome is the time where intraday is not so awesome, right? So it's having that mixture. If you're going to do an intraday account too, I would have a second account that's intraday mode and have your precision always running, diversify your risk. But there are people crushing it with intraday in these market conditions, because when the markets are just kind of boring and ranging a bit and slowly trending, but just not doing a big enough movement one way or the other to get in and out of a trade, that's when those intraday modes are tending to shine. So I would take a look at, maybe take a look at that as well. If you've been bored or not seeing the results you want because of the market speed, then maybe take a look at the intraday calls that happen on Thursdays at noon Eastern, 12 p.m. Eastern every Thursday. But let's take a look into the week ahead and talk a little bit about the markets and the condition of the market. So I'll go over here to Forex Factory. And here we are. So this week coming up, the one thing I got to tell you is it starts off very slow. So you see we got an AUD red folder on Monday. Tuesday, we have JPEC or OPEC JMMC. So when you look at OPEC JMMC meetings, all right, you have to understand that this is oil. This is one of those ones that's going to have a larger effect on the market typically. If you study it historically, it does move the market. You get into USD and AUD, and then middle of the week, it gets a little boring. Wednesday, you got nothing going on. Thursday, you have one USD event. But then Friday, we tie it all together. You not only have the G7 meetings, which this is a yellow folder. We don't tend to look at them, but this is an event that I've historically known does have some effects. And then you also have NFP, right? So it is NFP week. So with NFP week, you're going to want to be more conservative as always. It's always one of those weeks where you don't know what could happen, right? And the reason I say that is right now, NFP weeks have been really boring this year. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not like the old days where NFP used to move the markets like crazy. It's been pretty boring. But for safety, because of what NFP has historically done in the market, not what it's done in the past few months, but historically done in the market, you should be more conservative. And you your decisions. Maybe if you're on precision modes, 0.01 per 2,000 instead of 1,000. If you're on intraday modes, maybe that means actually running proper risk management and you know, the settings. Because sometimes I know people like to increase their max pairs and do all this stuff, and just be smart, you know, especially with a week that looks like it starts kind of slow, but then speeds up very quickly into a lot of different events. So, and yes, then anything that would have to be investigated, definitely email support so that we can actually investigate and pull logs if we think there's something going on, so we can see what we have happening there. I'm reading through the Q&A here. Is the break-even line calculated actual entries or calculated entries? Break-even line is going to actually be calculated. It should be on actual entries, because I believe even if I don't move, let's take a look real quick here. The break-even line, if we go to a lower time frame here. So this break-even line shouldn't move. I don't think, even when I move these TP lines or this line, any of it. But let's see. We're going to move the TP line. Break-even line should stay there. I'm going to move this line. Yep, the break-even line is not it's calculated on the actual entries. Yeah, it doesn't move no matter where you move any of this stuff. So the break-even line is calculated in actual entries. So that was a question in the Q&A for those of you wondering. Let me go back to the Q&A. With Olympics coming up pretty soon, would USD JPY perform its best, and would you recommend running that chart for the duration of that event? That's a very interesting question. I haven't looked into anything having to do with the Olympics and the economics of Japan based on it. Fascinating question, but honestly, I don't run USD JPY. It is a worst performing pair. So I'm going to tell you the same answer. I'll tell you, no matter what the economics say, I'm not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole anymore. So that answers your question. Also 1.01 question. Have you run backtest in each of the 3 correlation filter percent? So Greg, the thing with GearBox is we can run backtest on the base algorithm, but we can't run backtests on physically GearBox with the later gear entries. The reason I say that is MetaTrader does not allow, with the way the ghost trades are written, for that strategy to be backtested. So all of our backtests come on the actual base algorithm that enters on level 0, and then reanalyzing the data, you know, manually to come to conclusions. So we've done a lot of that, absolutely. Well, we haven't done any of that with correlation, because remember, the other thing with correlation is, I'm not sure if you know, but backtesting, you can only individually test one pair at a time with MT4. So as well, the correlation filter would have no effect in backtesting based on the fact that you can't run a backtest with 19 pairs and just run it through history and see how it would do. So there's a lot of things that make the backtesting of GearBox a much more manual thing that has to be analyzed between the base algorithm and then manually analyzing correlation data, manually combining that data. You know, because even if you use Quant Analyzer and you combine all the data and 19 pairs back tests at once, it's going to say the account blue because it doesn't know about the max pairs feature. There's all these things that you kind of can't, they're just not back testable. So we actually have to build a separate program for GearBox known as a GearBox simulator, where it's going to be its own actual, basically we have to code GearBox into its own program that runs tick data and create our own application for it. So that's something that's in the works, as you've seen in the Telegram announcements, but it's the last thing on our to-do list. So that's probably still a 6-month out development, to just be completely flat honest about it. But it is on a to-do list, and it is something that will get done. It's just not the top of the priority list because we do have the ability to manually analyze the data, but we do want to build that tool. That's a great question from Philip Howard. How does the management of trades change week to week as correlation comes into play? Awesome. So this is actually great. If a pair is already open and it now falls into correlation with another open pair, the software will still manage the trade and continue to open trades as normal. I made sure to have that put into the code because I didn't want GearBox to unmanage trades of already correlating pairs that were open, especially when we released the update, because if it didn't do that, then that means that you would all not be managing your trades right now. So yeah, Philip, it will manage already correlating data based on the fact people are already in correlated pairs. So if I rolled it out without it managing those trades, that would have been really bad. So that is how it is already programmed. Can you show how you set up and start your GearBox for one pair? I just open the one pair and open the manager and hit my strategy. Same as the setup video. I'm not sure what you mean. And if you haven't gone into the AP Academy, all the videos are in there. Intraday trading, should you hold trades over the weekend? Intraday trading, ideally you want to get out of the market, before weekend. It'd be ideal. But you could trade through the weekends. Absolutely. I mean, intraday is definitely not precision mode, right? What I tell everybody about intraday is it's a more hands-on strategy. When you tune into the intraday videos, and you'll see that I'm very much telling people that, hey, if you run this, you need to, be more hands-on with your account. Precision's more of you can kind of walk away and analyze the charts when trades come in and just let it do its thing, right? Whereas intraday, you're going to be a little more hands-on. It's going to have a lot more exposure to the market. Zen, great question. You said if you change the time frame on a certain pair to see better during live trading, will it affect the algo? Okay, so first, what I do if I want to analyze a chart is I don't do it with the one GearBox is on. Example. So when you want to use these tools here, you're not going to use these tools on the actual chart GearBox is on. You're going to just come open the same pair open a second time and then have that chart by itself. That's how I do it. That way you don't mess with the algo. You don't mess with anything. You're not relaunching the software. You're not doing anything over here. You just come open the chart on its own without the EA and then drag those little indicators on its own separate chart that you're looking to analyze. So this way you're not messing with anything. That's how I would always do that and handle that. Can I change the starting lot size in a pair that GearBox has taken one trade? Yes, but it's not going to change anything with your next trades because the starting lot only affects the starting lot. If you're looking for your next trades to be greater than they should be, you would have to change the position size multiplier. But with that being said, I do not see any more questions here in the chat or the Q&A. If anyone has any last questions, go ahead and throw them out now. I am not seeing anything new happening over here in the chats. So I appreciate you guys all tuning in as always. It's a wonderful Friday. I hope it's a wonderful Friday where you are as well. And I look forward to amazing June ahead. I hope you, if you're from the US or anywhere else in the world that celebrates Memorial Day, I'm not sure if it's just the US, I think it might be. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful Memorial Day Monday. As you know, the markets will be probably pretty slow on Monday because of that, at least on the US side. So with that being said, appreciate you all and look forward to seeing you guys again next week. And let's hope that we have an amazing June like I predict, because last June was an incredible June for GearBox and its early beta rendition days. And I'm hoping to see that momentum pick back up through the summertime. But with that being said, have a wonderful day, everyone.